In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the bellows boot that goes over the inner tie rod on this Honda Pilot. You do need an alignment after this job is done, and I always recommend replacing these in pairs, left and right at the same time. Let's get started. With the vehicle safely raised and supported, use a 22mm socket and remove all 5 lug nuts. The inner tie rod is locked onto the outer with a 22mm jam nut, so put a wrench on this and break it free. Now you want to make sure you spin it in the correct direction. There we go. That broke free. And I don't want to spin it too much because I don't want to alter the position of it right now. I just want to break these two free, so I'm going to leave it right here. Let's remove the cotter pin that locks in the castle nut for the tie rod stud. We'll straighten this out and hopefully we'll be able to pull this through. It looks like this one is not stuck. A lot of times these get stuck in here. I'm using some side cutters to grab onto this and pull it through, and then discard this. You never want to reuse old cotter pins. Use a 17mm socket and remove the nut. We'll leave this on a few threads, and then with a hammer, we're going to hammer the side of the knuckle right here, which will break free the tie rod stud from the knuckle. Take the mounting nut off and pull the tie rod out of the knuckle. Now we have to count the amount of turns it takes to remove this so we can put it back the same amount of turns, and that'll get us close to a good alignment to what it was before. Now it's not going to be spot on, so this is why you need an alignment after this job is done, but once again this will make it so that your wheels are at least pointing kind of in the same direction. "17 turns for me. Of course for you it will be different. Remove the jam nut. If yours is stuck on the threads, use locking pliers to hold the inner tie rod and a power tool to get that off of there. Now use some pliers and remove the clamp that holds the boot on the inner tie rod. Feel it out. If this is weak, you're going to want to replace it. Mine's alright, so I'm going to reuse it. At this point, there should be a clamp on the inside right where it meets the power steering rack. It's a metal clamp usually. Mine actually has a wire tie that isn't even fully tightened, so I'm just going to pull on this and remove it. But for you, if you had a metal clamp, which would be the factory clamp, you take a pry bar with a hammer, go right on the little end of the clamp and punch it until it breaks off. Once again, for me, it just popped right off, and there's that wire tie I was talking about. There we go. Inspect this area and make sure that the inner tie rod still has plenty of good grease, which it does. I'm just going to grab it and reapply it up there. Now we'll take our new boot and slide it over the inner tie rod. Seat it fully right here. And now we'll put it over the power steering rack. Here's a view from the front so you can understand what's happening. Basically, it has to go right over, just like that. And now we'll use one of the wire ties provided to pinch it right here. If you have a metal clamp and the tool to do it, go ahead and use that, but a wire tie will be just fine as long as it's properly tightened. So take the provided wire tie and we'll clip it right onto the end of it. Take some needle nose pliers, pinch the wire tie and pull it. This will twist it and tighten it up. There we go. The end kind of breaks off as you twist it when it gets tight enough. Reinstall the clamp that goes on the outer part. Just like that. Make sure it's fully seated. Apply some anti-seize to the threads of the inner tie rod. This will prevent that mounting nut from getting stuck on here in the future, and it'll help out the alignment professional. Thread this on all the way. This will also work that anti-seize into the threads. And now put the tie rod in, the outer one, same amount of turns that it took to remove it. All right here. Put the tie rod stud through the knuckle and put the castle nut back on and snug it up. The torque on this mounting nut is 44 foot-pounds. That's torqued, but this is a castle nut, so what has to happen is the slot needs to line up, and to do that you always want to continue tightening and never loosen to get that to line up. So I'm going to go a little bit extra. Right there is close. Perfect. At this point, let's get a new cotter pin and slide that through. Okay, stick that right in. And we're going to bend it over to lock it in. Cut the excess if you want, or just leave it as long as it's not in the way of the wheel or anything. This is perfectly fine. Now, let's tighten up our jam nut. Put that 22mm on and snug it the best you can. The rest of this will be up to your alignment professional. You just want to lock these inner and outer tie rods in. And then bring this back so the outer tie rod isn't sitting at a severe angle. And with that, this is done. Let's put the wheel on. Let's get the wheel on. We'll put on all 5 lug nuts. We'll bottom them out in a cross pattern, and then also in a cross pattern we'll torque them to 94 foot-pounds. "94 foot-pounds in a cross pattern, here we go. Double check them. And there you have it. Take it for a road test and don't forget to get in alignment.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.